How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Zach Hicks, your resident film nerd of HorseshoeHuddle.com, and of course, your favorite co-host over at the Locked On Colts podcast. We are back yet again with another Matt Goncalves film breakdown here for my channel. And again, I feel like this young player passed with flying colors. He played against a really tough Denver Broncos defensive line in week 2, a defensive line that features some really strong players like John Franklin Myers, Zach Allen, and DJ Jones, who I think is one of the best nose tackles in the league. And I think he overall had a really, really strong game. His pass protection is night and day compared to what we saw in the preseason, and all the good things that we saw that could translate to the regular season have carried on, and all of the issues have kind of fallen off. He's really developed into a really strong pass blocker, and the run game still has some lengths to go, but I'm very intrigued by where he can be by the end of the season. But just talking about where he's at right now, I think the Colts have a really solid starting right guard, and I'm excited to dive into a couple of these clips with you guys and really break down how he is winning, the techniques he's using. I think he's just playing on a heater right now, and hopefully this carries into week 3 against the Tennessee Titans. But for now, let's dive into his performance against the Denver Broncos and talk about how Matt Goncalves continued his hot streak in pass protection. All right, guys, so let's dive into a couple of these Matt Goncalves clips in week 2 against the Denver Broncos. Because of popular request, I'm actually going to be playing it in full speed to start off each play, and then we're going to dive into the slow motion and break down the clip like play by play, moment by moment, and give you guys the in-depth breakdown. But just wanted to let you guys know that before we jump into this, because the full speed is a little bit jarring considering how we've broken everything down here at half speed typically on this channel, so that's why it's going to look like it's in super fast motion at the beginning of these clips. But here's the first play we're going to break down. I believe this is a 3rd and long situation, throwing the ball on the out route to Josh Downs, and we're going to watch Matt Goncalves here operate on the stunt on the interior with the nickel blitz coming off the outside. So here's the clip in full motion. Again, very jarring that it's very fast. I'm still trying to get used to it myself. But let's dive into the slow motion of this play here. Matt Goncalves is here on that Gilligan's Island. We're sliding to the left, and he's going to operate with knowing that this is going to be a stunt here because that guy is crossing his face. So as this defensive tackle works across his face, he's going to operate like this is a stunt because he's expecting that with this inside move. So I really like this next thing we're going to see from Goncalves, which is instead of just handing the guy off to Tanner Bordellini, he's actively displacing with powerful hands, a really good punch, and making it so this guy cannot be effective in the play. And sometimes when we see guys try to do this in pass protection, like Goncalves is doing here, we see them overexert themselves and overextend and lose their positioning on the inside of the offensive line as a result. But what we're seeing from Goncalves is he is displacing that player. He is knocking him off his path while also creating that room to get back to his guy. He's able to get square. I actually love the active eyes here because he's not only scanning for a player coming to his body here with his positioning, but he's also just scanning for that outside looper to make sure Braden Smith is passing off his player as well, and if he has to slide over the top or if he's going to stay on that interior. So actively moving his eyes around, keeping his body in the positioning that he needs it to be, and he's able to operate in this stunt fairly well. But I really love that first move is really what I wanted to highlight here with this clip. I love the displacement. I love being the aggressor on these stunts up front as an offensive lineman, because defensive linemen are all about disruption and havoc and just creating as much pressure by shooting gaps and twisting and moving all up front. But offensive linemen can be aggressive too. They can be displacers. They can be attacking even in pass protection. Pass pro isn't passive. One of my favorite quotes about offensive line play. And we see that here with Goncalves. He's displacing this player, disrupting that stunt, making it slower than what it is, and he gets to the middle, locks it down, and gives Daniel Jones the space he needs to deliver this ball on the outside on the money. So very good stuff from Matt Goncalves here. On this next clip, we're going to see the Tyler Warren sail route from the fullback position, and again, we're going to see Goncalves on his little Gilligan's Island here on the right side. And he locks it up pretty well there. We're going to dive into the slow motion of it here in just a second and break down how he does it. But I've been really impressed with him on these Gilligan Island reps where he is by himself without any help really outside of just his guys being next to him. We've seen him operate at a really high level in these situations this season. So what we typically see from him here, especially on play actions, he likes a jump set and get on these guys in a hurry and close that space. But because this player is way outside, more of a 4 tech, almost a 5 tech, with how outside he is here, we're not going to see Goncalves lunge all the way out there and leave himself in a vulnerable position, especially with this being a longer developing play. So we're going to see him get back into his angle set a little bit more passive than we typically see. And what we're going to do is to get the two-hand punch, nice square two-hand punch, feet wide, head up, really good stuff here. But instead of latching on with that two-hand punch, we're going to retreat, circle the hands back inside where they need to be on the chest plate, and lock it down from there. Again, we're playing a little bit high here, and that's just always going to be an issue with him. 6'6". He's not always going to win the leverage battle, so you would like to maybe get here, right here, and just hunker down in that anchor, but overall, just getting that body in front, creating 2 layers for this defensive tackle to go through, I think is an effective strategy for a player of his size. But I really like the two-hand punch. So we're going to displace right here, displace, slow that rush, get back into a spot to hunker down with that anchor, and again, make that defensive tackle go through 2 layers on these longer developing throws. Because odds are, even if you have to buy 3.5 seconds for Daniel Jones to get this ball out, the way that the play is supposed to operate, you can pretty much guarantee that amount of time as long as you stay on your feet with this kind of technique. So it's not really a technique meant to survive right here and like lock down the rush right here at the line of scrimmage. It is one that's going to give a little bit of ground, but when we're getting a deep play action set here from Daniel Jones, I perfectly am fine with this type of approach from Matt Goncalves, and I think it works really well. The key here really, though, is getting that initial punch to disrupt and then circling those hands inside. So watch his hands here. We're going to get that first punch again, punch, and then circle the hands in, right back inside, and that's where he wins the rep right there. Because once he circles those hands back to that chest plate, he's able just to hunker down and hold him off and win that rep. So really good rep from Matt Goncalves. I like this approach when it is a deeper set. And I think it's a good approach for just stronger bull rushing defensive tackles in general. Make them go through those 2 layers. It's like putting up 2 brick walls, in front of the player. It's hard enough to get through one brick wall, but when you have to get through a second one, it makes it just that much tougher. So I really like this approach from Goncalves, and I think he's been doing this a couple times this year where we're getting the two-hand punch, the circle, get those hands inside, and rework them. Really good stuff from Goncalves in pass protection. Now, this is actually a changeup he throws on this next one. So again, we're going to play it in full speed, and we're going to see if you guys can catch exactly what I'm talking about. So again, Goncalves here on the right side, we're going to get that Gilligan's Island rep, and watch the little changeup he throws when you really think about that last rep in comparison. So here he's going to jump out, hands inside, and we're going to get that ball out to JT in the flat and get that 40-plus yard reception. But think about how we talked about in the last clip, how Matt Goncalves was lunging, getting those 2 hands inside, then retreating, circling them back to the interior, and hunkering down from there. Here, in contrast to the last play where it was more of a play action, like longer developing play. Here we are getting a quick pass. It's going to be a quick pass where either Jonathan Taylor is going to get it on the rail route, or we're going to get it over the middle to Josh Downs or Tyler Warren. And Matt Goncalves knows this. He knows the situation. He's a heady player. And instead of setting his feet and giving ground like he did on the last rep, we're going to just close that space in a hurry. So we're not jumping because, again, this is more of like a 4 tech, almost 5 tech again. This guy's basically over top of the offensive tackle. So we're not going to jump set that because it is a pretty long distance to go. But we're going to do an aggressive angle. And instead of hitting those 2 hands in there and then retreating, we're going to just establish right there. That is where we're not giving up ground. We are jumping into that. I don't like leaving the feet here, but again, we're trying to be aggressive. We're trying to throw that change up. We're going to insert our whole body right here and just really disrupt him, and then get the hands on and keep him away from the quarterback. I think this is, again, a really good changeup for a quick hitting pass play where, hey, if this defensive tackle has seen you work the hands and retreat a couple times in this game, I think mixing it up and just sticking on him and making that 2-hand punch be your latching punch, I think is a really good changeup to throw there at defensive tackle. So again, a very veteran, like savvy type of move from Goncalves where he understands the play, understands what is coming from the offense, and he's operating with that in mind. So this is, again, a kind of a veteran type play from a guy making one of his first couple starts at right, his second career start at right guard in the regular season. And we're seeing him mix and match his sets, mix and match his approach according to what the pass concept is. I'm really, really liking what I'm seeing in pass protection this year from Goncalves, especially when he's on these island reps. These island reps are difficult, man. It took Will Fries multiple years to get to this level in these island reps because they are tough. And defensive tackles want Goncalves to be the island offensive lineman, but in this kind of man blocking look they're getting against this 5-man rush, this is how you want to approach it in a quick passing set. Also, getting his hands on him in a hurry kind of prevents the ability to get the hands up and get a hand on that ball because this guy is just so locked into the hand fighting with Goncalves. So overall, just a fantastic rep from the young right guard, something that we've seen all year from him in pass protection. I really can't say enough of how good he's been in pass protection. Now, I say all that with our next clip being kind of a negative one here, but I want you guys to watch it in full speed and see if you recognize why I don't think this is as negative as maybe what Pro Football Focus or some other sites would say here. So again, we're going to have the Gilligan's Island to a degree on this one, and you'll see what I mean in a second. Against Zach Allen, one of the better pass rushing defensive tackles in football. And we're going to get that pressure from Zach Allen up in Daniel Jones's face, and Daniel Jones just delivers a great ball to Alec Pierce. But here's my issue with this play here. It's not really as much on Goncalves. It's more to do with Tanner Bortolini. So the Colts are anticipating 49 coming on the blitz here. They're going to have a 6-man protection with Jonathan Taylor stepping up to fill against whichever linebacker comes. Like if this linebacker is coming backside, Taylor's going to come up and fill. And we're sliding this to the right because, again, we're keeping the eye on 49. 49 is the mic in this call out, and we're sliding to the right. So with that right slide call, Matt Goncalves is expecting either Tanner Bortolini to be latched on to 49 here on like pretty tight, or if this guy's not coming, Goncalves is expecting help to the inside. So he's going to be half-manning 99 Zach Allen. And by half-man, he's going to be responsible for the outside half of Zach Allen. He's responsible for this left shoulder and the inside part of the breastplate. And he's expecting Bortolini, again, if he's kept uncovered, to help with that inside. So what we're going to see from Goncalves is he's going to overset to the outside. He's oversetting. He's sliding out wider than what he typically would. We're seeing that distance between him and the center kind of grow. And we're seeing, look, head is on the outside shoulder. Left hand is on the inside. Right hand's on that right shoulder. Typically, you want to protect that inside, but again, he's expecting that slide to the right. And what we get from Bortolini is he's too focused on helping with Quentin Nelson right here. Like, this shouldn't happen. We don't need to help Quentin Nelson here. Quentin Nelson's got it. He's not the Gilligan's Island guy, or he is the Gilligan's Island guy, excuse me. He should not be helping Quentin Nelson whatsoever because Quentin Nelson is on the backside of the slide. And you could tell it's a right slide because that right foot is the one that comes back for Tanner Bortolini. So he should not be going this way. Do not go this way at all. You don't need to help Quentin Nelson. You got to help Matt Goncalves on the right side because this is a right slide. You at least got to close this ground here and be closer to your right guard because he's expecting that help to the interior. So once he engages here playing half man on the outside of Zach Allen, as Allen breaks inside, and again, Goncalves could have been a little bit stronger here with that inside hand, could have put up more of a fight, but he's expecting Bortolini to help, because if Bortolini is here, he's a little bit off and he's a little bit in the back behind Goncalves, he can be in perfect position to clean this up, but because he decides to help a little too much here with Quentin Nelson's guy, he gives up that inside rush, and it ends up being a pressure on Daniel Jones. So I think other sites gave this pressure to Matt Goncalves. I'm fine with him having like a partial fault for it, but I think that you really want that center to be out there helping on this play, and he's just not in the positioning that he needs to be. He's just not on the right layer, and he's also helping too much on the left guard, who is more of an island player here on the right slide. So this is probably the roughest rep for Goncalves because, again, you want that left arm to be a little bit stronger here, kind of hold him up and slow him down a little bit more, but you expect the center to be there helping a bit more. But it's kind of what's expected out of two first-year starters on the interior of the offensive line. You're going to have reps like this, but I did want to contextualize a little bit of this one pressure that Goncalves did allow in this game where Again, I think the center probably should be there to help him out a little bit more than what he was. They do slow up Allen just enough so Jones can get that ball out, but certainly a low light for both of those interior players in this game, but not the worst thing ever. Next clip, though, we're going to dive into the thing we all know and love Matt Goncalves for, especially if you watch this channel, and that is the jump sets. We love ourselves a good jump set here from Goncalves. This is in the red zone. This is on the Colts touchdown pass in this game. Look at this jump set from Goncalves. Boom. That jump set is just so clean. And I put this on social media earlier in the week, but if you're a defensive tackle on an island with Goncalves, especially on these play actions or these quick hitters where he decides to jump you, I just don't know. Like, again, when you have 6'6", 330 on you like that, where are you going? Where are you going? He's engaged already here. Like, once he has you in this position, you don't even have your feet square at this point. You've barely fired off the ball, and you're already locked up. I just don't know what a defensive tackle can really do here. Outside of just stopping your rush and getting your hands up and hoping you can get in the passing lane. Because right here, I mean, he's just so good with these jump sets. We talked about it in the preseason. We talked about it in week 1, and we're still talking about it in week 2, where we get the little pitter-patter, square feet, head up, hands inside, and once he lands that strike, boom, hands inside perfectly on the interior. He is just picture perfect with these jump sets. These jump sets are impossible to beat. I'm sure we'll see somebody win with like a two-hand swipe at some point this year on them and get around him, but so far so good when it comes to these jump sets. I'm such a big fan of when he whips these out, and it's just so hard for a defensive tackle. If they're in like a tight like 3-tech, or if the guy's known for bull rushing, Goncalves is jumping them when he's on an island, and he's getting on these guys in a hurry, and he's just disrupting them early in their rush. They're not even able to think before they're trying to separate from him, and he's able to lock it down. Really great stuff on these jump sets from Goncalves, and a big reason why he's been so good in pass protection to start the year. We haven't had many run blocking clips to talk about with Goncalves this year, so this is one I want to throw in here. Keep in mind that this is against DJ Jones, one of the best run defending defensive tackles in the league, so that is a little bit of context, but kind of a rough rep here from Goncalves. Jones is just an absolute monster, but this is kind of an overall look at where some of his issues have been this year in the run game. I think it all comes down to leverage. It all comes down to just keeping low. Again, he's 6'6". It's tough to out leverage players like Jones, who are just veterans and pros at this. But you do want to see a little bit better effort here from Goncalves. Like right here, this is a situation you just never want to be in as an offensive lineman. Again, great technique. DJ Jones is one of one. But from here, I think you can approach this from two different aspects. If you're Goncalves, one is you want to drive up on that hand. You can already see him kind of doing that with the elbow here. He's trying to push up on that hand just to no avail. That's one way you can approach this. The other one is just move those feet. Keep moving those feet. Stay as square as possible. Move those feet and just dig him out of there as much as you can. Goncalves kind of gets a little bit complacent here when he's unable to break that hand. He's expecting like, hey, I got this walled off. Taylor's going to have his choice where, he's supposed to be running behind the insert here of Ashton Doolin. He could also operate in these A gaps here. Like, he's going to run off my backside as long as I can stay square and keep to the outside. We're going to be fine. Gets a little complacent. Jones is able to dislodge from the block and make that tackle in the backfield. Not really what you want to see in the run game. I think a lot of it, again, just comes down to leverage and play strength. He's still a young player. He still has a little bit of a doughiness to his nature. So some plays like this are going to happen. But you want to see him just fire off a little bit lower, get those hands on quicker. And then if this situation does arise, just drive your feet. Drive your feet as much as possible. Dig that guy out of the space right there and just don't let this kind of stuff happen. So yeah, the run game is still a work in progress for Goncalves, but let's finish it off with another great pass blocking rep, this one against Zach Allen on an island. And even in the full speed, you can see just how well he's operating in the pass game. I believe this is going to be an angle set. Let's see. Okay, so it's kind of an angle set. He's a little late out of his stance, but luckily his work earlier in the game kind of pays dividends here, because Zach Allen's approaching this rush in a very tentative way. So Goncalves isn't really going to get into any kind of set here. He's not able to jump him. He's not able to angle set because he's late getting out of his stance. But Allen approaches this rep really tentative, just not really knowing how he wants to attack here, because Goncalves has been jumping guys all day. He's been mixing in the changeups, mixing in the curveballs, mixing in the fastballs. And as a result, Allen kind of approaches this very tentative. He's getting knocked off. I mean, I don't even think Goncalves really displaced him much there, and he's getting knocked back. He's really out of his rhythm here because of what Goncalves has been doing, and Goncalves just wins with the hand fighting. This is all hand fighting here from the young right guard. Allen's unable to get around just that massive frame. I really like, again, the head up, keeping square. Really good stuff from Goncalves. So maybe one of the ugliest starts to a play for him because he's just so late getting out of his stance. I don't think it was just him. I think the cadence was just a little off in general here. But really good job of winning with the hands. Look at that, like just quick punches, man. Quick, independent. I can't even say independent punches because we get a little bit independent. We're getting a little bit of the two-hand punches, but very quick with them, just reestablishing that position and keeping Allen away from his chest plate. And as a result, Allen's really not able to gain any ground. He has to chase Daniel Jones on the scramble here, and the Colts are able to get a productive gain. But overall, very good game from Matt Goncalves. I thought he followed up his Week 1 performance with another strong one here in Week 2. The big test coming up is Jeffrey Simmons and the Tennessee Titans, so we'll see how he does there. But overall, through 2 weeks, I think Matt Goncalves has been a fantastic addition on the Colts offensive line, and I'm excited to see how it goes going forward here for him.